That is the introduction clap. That means the race has started.
Good evening.
Seabiscuit is in the lead.
Followed by Gray's a
Grave
dumbass.
Dude, that's so weird. I said Gravedigger and you said Gray, and I thought you were actually going to say Gravedigger. No, I thought maybe we were simpatico for a second.
No.
Nope. Wolfman just being an asshole.
I hope not. I would jump out of a building if we thought too much of a like.
Yeah. It's weird. We find out stuff every other day, or every time we talk about something, we find out that we kind of have like a similar experience in our life, or we went through a similar, you know what I mean? It's odd.
And exact opposites about stuff too. So
well, we
have
have
polar opposites. We're like 50% the same, and then 50% polar opposites.
Yeah, but the stuff that's the same, it's like eerily how
yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's like crazy, eerily the same.
Yeah, it's odd.
That's why I said it's like polar opposites with the other. You know what I mean? Because the other side's so similar. It's like.
Yeah. Well, it's funny. Oh, by the way, this is GrindHaus on 42nd Street.
Yeah. Hello, welcome.
Obviously, you know who we are. I'm Gray. He's Wolfman.
Yeah. The Wolfie and the Gray Man.
Episode 20, which it's like a little anniversary for us. I mean, it ends in 0, 20 episodes strong. Obviously, we have something massive planned for 25 because, you know, it's a big deal. But we got something pretty exciting tonight.
Our podcast is almost old enough to drink in the U.S.
20 weeks.
If we were in Canada, we'd be legit.
Yeah, or pretty much anywhere in Europe.
Yeah.
Now, I'm not even going to go into any type of news. Y'all go on our Facebook. Thank you, everybody. Thank you guys for joining our last live stream. It was a certified hoot. We had a good crowd. We had great conversation. We had an awesome versus battle.
Gray showing his redneck living out in the middle of nowhere language by saying hoot.
Hoot.
It was a hoot. Thanks. There's a ton of people that are going to hear this and be like, I am never going to their live stream now because he called it a hoot. He called it a hoot. I don't want any part of that. Of that.
Our next live stream is going to be filled with like a bunch of people from West Virginia. Be like, hi, I heard this was a hoedown. It's like,
I heard this was a hoot and hoedown. Right
before we recorded, I had to chase a black bear off the dumpster. So I do live in the middle of nowhere. I did read a certain thing that we haven't been doing. But if you're a member of our Patreon, you get shout-outs. And we haven't, like, we say what's up or we thank them, but, like, we haven't been giving official shout-outs. We'll give it to them, like, you know, we'll mention them throughout the episode. Sometimes they're in the beginning. But, like, I specifically want to thank, like, Gabe, Ray, Stacy, Gore. I mean, yeah, she, you know, I thank her too, whatever. But for sure, Ray, Gabe, and Stacy. Stacy just jumped up to the highest tier, which is projectionist. We were actually going to have a tier above that, but we thought the title was a little graphic, so we didn't actually go with it. But projectionist. She jumped up because she wanted another request. And we'll get there eventually. I'm not going to say what it is. She
technically made her request. It was the movie Brainstand.
Oh, okay.
That was a while ago. It's in the Discord.
Okay, because like during the live, I mean, obviously she had the serial killer pick, which we did.
She had 2 serial killer picks actually. We had to turn one of them down because it was too big of a pick right now.
Massive, yeah. And she said, "Look, I'll jump up on Patreon, but like I want you guys to do Devil's Rejects." And it's like, okay, you fool, we were already gonna do it at some point, but we might just do it sooner. So thank you, Stacy. You rock.
You just movie shammed Stacy.
Hey, listen.
Yes, I said it correctly. We're not getting that story, but it's a joke between me and him right now.
It's gonna be our next shirt. It's like, don't movie sham me, bro. You know.
Mm-hmm.
And on the back, it'll say Fat Sham. So yeah, we have quite a few awesome movies coming up, and we actually do have to pick some more because we're coming to the point where we don't have a whole lot left. But today's movie is definitely a bigger deal than episode 10. I know, I feel like episode 10 was kind of a letdown, even though when we did it, I was super excited because Meet the Feebles, it was like, I had such great memories of it, and then rewatching it, like, not high and stoned, I was like, ugh, really should have picked something else. But I don't feel that way about this movie, because it's actually a good movie.
It's an amazing movie.
It gets more love now.
It's near movie perfection for me.
It gets more love now, and I'm glad it does, because it deserves it. But the treatment it got when it came out, I think, is kind of bullshit. But today, we're talking about From Dusk Till Dawn.
I have a slight theory about why it gets more love now and not as much then, is because Tarantino and Rodriguez weren't respected like they are now, and it's people like kind of turning and changing their reviews about it, and they're like, "Oh, the movie's actually a lot better than I remembered it," and they're just being phony, fake cinema douchebags. I think, you know what I mean, just trying to kiss ass of the norm.
I'll put a little bit of weight onto that pile, but my main thing is Quentin Tarantino, at the time of this movie, was a pretty big name. Not massive like Hollywood name, but he was respected enough in Hollywood because he had already done Reservoir Dogs, Pulp Fiction, but he was the writer and an actor in this movie. Mm-hmm. When Robert Rodriguez,
main character actor too, like a main character,
right?
Even though he wasn't like the main, he was one of the.
It was a supporting
one of the
actor.
Three. He was, but he was one of the three main. You got to figure there's Clooney, him, and Harvey Keitel, like the three.
Clooney is the lead actor of the movie.
Yeah,
like that's for sure.
Well, him and Keitel, yeah.
Yeah, I would put Keitel as the second, and I'd put Quentin as the third.
Yeah.
Only as like the story arcs and how they work out.
Yeah. I mean, technically, Clooney is the guy, but I'm just saying, I see it more as like it's more of a trio.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Obviously, the story arc, it changes a little bit the way the story goes, but
And now, obviously, Robert Rodriguez would go on to do awesome stuff, and like Mariachi and Desperado, like they were.
That's before this.
I know they were acclaimed, but I don't think they had the recognition that Reservoir Dog and Pulp Fiction had when they came out. And I think
I think Desperado had some pretty decent acclaim.
Yeah.
But not El Mariachi, because that was all in Spanish. It was black and white, even though it was a good movie.
Oh,
it didn't get
the.
No, I know it didn't get the recognition it should have. Desperado definitely did, but it still didn't get as much as it should have. Because I think that's another really excellent.
It is, movie. But Desperado, it got the acclaim when it came out, but Pulp Fiction was like the game changer. Like Pulp Fiction was huge when it came out. Everyone loved it, critics, audience, and I honestly thought with Quentin's name attached to this that it would have had a much better release. Honestly,
well, you think? Oh fuck, you on? God damn it. Do you think? This is more of a question for them, but since we're sort of talking about it just real quick, do you think actually Pulp Fiction was that big when it came out, or it kind of grew?
No, I know when that movie came out, it was like the start of a new trend.
Yeah, I know, but do you think it took a few months to do that, or do you think it was right away? That's what I'm saying.
Like, was it a box office smash? I couldn't tell you,
I remember it like kind of snowballing and getting huge. It wasn't like huge right out of the gate. I mean, I was a little older.
Right. I could see that.
I remember it snowballing and turning into this like mega hit. It's still a cult movie to this day, but like I think it had that mega hit at one point in time, especially with rental sales and just people purchasing it in general. It might not have been a box office hit right away, but I know it made some money in the box office.
And I think that's the beauty.
Good reviews. Yeah.
It's the beauty of Quentin Tarantino is the fact that he can be the guy who is for the cinema snobs and the indie guys, but he can also be the guy for the mainstream audience. And I think Pulp Fiction kind of proved that both sides could.
One foot in each world, basically.
Yeah. And both sides could come together and enjoy something. Because usually your average moviegoer isn't even really willing or wanting to watch the Oscars because the types of movies that are featured for Oscar performances aren't necessarily like your Will Smith action movies or but Tarantino does it well. Again, Tarantino didn't direct this though, and I don't think Rodriguez had enough of a record. I think he was getting noticed, but I don't think he was at that point yet. Like, if this movie came out 2 years later, maybe it would have done better. From Dusk Till Dawn, not Pulp Fiction. I think Pulp Fiction came out.
Yeah.
Yeah. Shit.
I think we were on track with what you were saying. I don't think anyone was confused. At least I hope not.
Yeah. No. It's the topic of tonight's episode. Yeah. We've mentioned this before because obviously we did an episode from the Tales from the Crypt Demon Knight where we mentioned that at some point this movie was meant to be one of the 3 movies in the Tales from the Crypt movie adaptations.
Yeah, it was supposed to be the second one. It was supposed to be the sequel to Demon Knight.
Bordello. Yeah, Bordello was their guaranteed movie that they knew they were doing. And then
what I read again in here, Bordello wasn't even a thing. They wanted to do a vampire movie, so they were going to do this, and then they ended up just doing Bordello instead, and then sent this down the crapshoot basically, which was a big mistake, I think.
Yeah, well, when we get to Bordello,
there's so many conflicting stories out there, like about whether Bordello was still around and wasn't. Like, it's just.
I'll share the interview with you on the watch later list, where the two main writers of that movie were Demon Knight. The only reason they took it is because Bordello was already there, but they weren't working on it. But they knew that was their thing. Now, I did find out tonight that From Dusk Till Dawn was
no. I know. Like, I wanted to just be clear what you're saying. I know there was a script out there for that movie, but it made it seem like it was set in stone to be the third movie, Bordello Blood, and it wasn't. Like, they already had it, and they were like.
It was one of the 3. It was they didn't necessarily have in any type of order, but they knew Bordello was going to be a thing. Like,
they didn't know Bordello was going to be a thing at the time. They weren't sure which movie they wanted to, if they wanted to do this or that. And then
that's
briefly they were like,
the conflict that I'm saying though. That's the conflict. I'm saying it was between Dusk and Dawn and Demon Knight that they were deciding, and Bordello was set in stone because that's the interview with the 2 writers that I saw.
Yeah, I know, but even the thing we just read earlier, like, says Demon Knight was already out, and then they were deciding this was going to be.
Right, but this script was around longer than it was, longer than a year. And that's when, like I said, and I was about to say, I found out today that this movie was literally only in that Tales from the Crypt realm for about 28 days. Like 4 weeks, they said they were even entertaining the thought. Do you think this movie would have done better or worse with the Tales from the Crypt name attached to it?
Well, it depends. Does the movie stay the same or does it get changed?
This movie exactly as it is. Same actor. Tarantino wrote it. Robert Rodriguez directed. It's same thing.
I don't know if it does better or worse. I feel like it's the same audience.
Yeah.
For the most part. I mean, maybe it piques some people's interest a little bit more depending on whether they like Demon Knight or not. But I mean, in all honesty, it could have possibly even hurt the movie.
That's what I was going to say. And
It's possible because a lot of people didn't like Demon Knight at first.
The only I was going to say if it was going to do anything, it probably hurt it, only because Tarantino had done Reservoir Dogs and Pulp Fiction. Then to see him attach his name to something like Tales from the Crypt, which is completely different than those two movies, I don't know if people would have reacted positively towards that. I like Tales from the Crypt. I like the campiness, and I like this and that, but some people don't. And like you said, the main fan base was there. Whether this was a Tales from the Crypt movie or not, those fans were already invested in seeing this.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, people are going to see that regardless, but it could have threw it over the top. There is that chance of like, holy shit, Quentin Tarantino is going to direct a Tales from the Crypt thing. How awesome would that be? You know what I mean? But at the same time, people would be like, well, that other one kind of sucked, even though we don't think it did, and it's got more claim to fame now than it did earlier. A lot of those people have changed their minds over the years, or I think because the movie holds up, and there was also saturation of movies at that time, horror and stuff. So I don't know.
But when this movie
could have been bad
out,
release.
Look, you know what? Let me just. I should have did this earlier, but I just thought of it now. This movie came out in '96, correct?
Yeah.
I
want to see what movies came out at the same time.
I want the horror movies. I just want to see what the horror genre.
Well, this was number one in the box office for the first week it came out, and then it slipped the third. Then it slipped the third, and then kept slipping. So I think the initial wave was like the hardcore fans coming to see it, and then it got beat by these cheeseball movies. I forget what they were off the top of my head, but I looked at it earlier. It's somewhere. If we get into, I'm sure it'll be somewhere.
It's funny because as IMDb lists it, they said the number one horror movie released in '96 was Scream, which Scream was a massive hit, but that doesn't show the type of horror movies that were coming out at that time, because that was a special movie as well.
Yeah, that changed a lot of things when it came as a horror.
Right.
Yeah.
Not
necessarily right away, though. That's the thing. Not necessarily right away.
No, I think
but
the
it
later
slowly changed
90s,
it. It like started to change as from '96 to 2000. You start seeing a lot of movies similar to that, and then it just slowly changed it.
Like 97 to 02, those 5 years were heavily involving Scream-esque movies for horror. So number 2 was From Dusk Till Dawn, and then we get to like The Frighteners, The Dentist, The Craft, Bordello of Blood, Hellraiser, Jack Frost.
Hellraiser Bloodline. You got to be more specific.
Oh yeah, sorry, Bloodline. Yeah, that was at 4. Yeah. Tremors 2. Bad Moon, and then they have Fear on here, which horror. Fear, yeah. The Mark Wahlberg was in it.
Oh, that movie. That's right. That's what. For some reason, I confused it with something else in my brain for a minute.
Yeah,
Thinner, I remember that movie.
Pinocchio's Revenge. I actually remember.
Was Thinner '96? Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. So basically,
I remember Pinocchio's Revenge from Blockbuster. I remember that. Yeah.
Did you ever see it?
Yeah, no, I remember from Blockbuster.
No, I've never saw it. I just remember the poster. Oh, because like the angry wooden.
I might have rent. I don't know. I can't
if you watch it again, you'd be like, oh, I've seen this. You had to.
Yeah. I might have.
But basically,
I remember seeing the cover.
That was what the horror genre kind of looked like.
Well, I know The Craft was like a big indie hit.
Yeah,
it did well with like the sales and rentals.
Mm-hmm.
Tremors 2 was kind of hit or miss with people. Didn't go that far. Thinner, I think, was kind of a failure considering most Stephen King movies people liked. I don't think people liked that one very much.
I think it's one of the weakest ones, and not even comparing it to like Maximum Overdrive, where it's like kind of cheesy good. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, but
Like,
he
this
said
is
like
just
legit
bad.
good ones, like the first Pet Cemetery, Carrie, Christine. You know what I mean? The Shining. There's been
Shining,
some.
yeah.
Yeah, there's been really
Oh
good
yeah.
knock 'em out of the park movies. Even though to some loyal book fans, those aren't that good in general. But
Well, we're talking about movies. If the book
yeah, no, but
snobs
you know
want
what I
to jump
mean.
in,
Yeah, you know what I mean.
yeah.
Like people comparing it to the.
Oh yeah.
We even. I don't mention the It TV series because it was awesome when I was a kid, but I don't think it holds up to this day. Where honestly, I don't think The Shining holds up as much as it does, but it's still shot interestingly enough because it's Stanley Kubrick.
Yeah, I think
you know what I mean. Like there's things that still hold up to this day, but overall as a movie, it doesn't hold up as much as I remembered it. But that's a whole nother discussion,
Right, I'll watch it as a Stanley Kubrick movie.
Yeah.
But I'm not watching it as a classic horror movie.
Yeah. To me, it's not anymore.
Yeah.
But I mean, it gets an honorable mention in a way. Yeah, to a certain extent.
Now, I missed one. They had that shitty remake, The Island of Dr. Moreau with Marlon Brando, Val Kilmer.
Yeah,
that was 96.
I guess that's considered. What else? I mean, what were some of the other ones earlier?
So the Dentist was at number 4.
Yeah, that's Corbin Bernstein or whatever. What the hell is his name? He was Dorn.
Corbin Bernsen.
Bernstein. He was the Dorn in Major League.
Okay.
He was the guy that wouldn't take wouldn't go down for the. He's like, I'm retiring. I'm a stock portfolio.
Yeah.
And then he owned the team in part 2, like that guy.
And they had like 3 or 4 dentist movies. Like
there's 2 that I know of. There might be a third, but I know there's definitely 2.
Yeah, and that was the first one was actually directed by Brian Usna. So, I mean, they had a little bit of what's the word? Talent attached to that.
What year was Dr. Giggles? That wasn't 96?
Hold on.
Was that 94, 97?
I do want to
95?
bring up also the third movie of that year that was popular, I guess, was The Frighteners, which
Yeah, but I don't think that did very well on that wasn't very well liked either. That's another cult movie.
Yeah,
where I think it holds up better now. Well, you've never seen it, so
no.
Yeah.
No, but what I'm saying is like
I'm saying you can't provide an opinion is what I'm getting at on that one.
No, I could say more people appreciate it now than they did when it came out, because if it was as big as it should have been when it came out, I probably would have seen it back then.
Yeah, it wasn't big at all. It just kind of
right.
And you know what it is too? I think because it was rated R.
Yeah.
Also, it wasn't like a PG-13 movie, and it was Michael J. Fox was in it. He was like He was like the lead.
Yeah, I mean, I was seeing rated R movies back then, but my thing was
I mean for the average public. It wasn't what they're used to getting from Michael J. Fox and.
But it wasn't like a franchise established either.
Yeah.
So it couldn't go off of the name of like a Child's Play or a
Peter Jackson wasn't really Peter Jackson yet.
Yeah, he wasn't. He was still brain dead.
He was climbing the ladder. He was getting there.
Yeah.
King Kong would come out not long after that. That would get him a little bit of recognition, and then the Lord of the Rings stuff would
Lord of the Rings. Yeah. Dr. Giggles was 92. So 4 years.
Really? It's that old? I didn't realize it was that old. I thought maybe like 94. Because that movie gets brought up when you talk to dentist. Like, people confuse those two movies. I don't know how, but...
Well, Isn't Dr. Giggles a little bit more of a campy horror movie where the dentist is supposed to be a little more serious?
The Dentist is a little more like thriller horror.
Yeah.
Where Dr. Giggles, he's more of like a slasher serial killer type, and it's like a little more comedic to me personally. Because the guy's always giggling and laughing. That's why it's called Dr. Giggles. Like, he's just insane. Like.
Maybe we'd have to one time do a comparison video of the two, just to see where people are looking for these connections.
I don't know if those movies deserve their own, but if we do a comparison, that would work.
Yeah. But basically, the only reason I brought up 96 is I hate to say it, but besides maybe like 5 movies, not a strong year for horror.
No, this is like during the horror slump a lot, like during these early 90s. Like, you'd get a couple movies here and there were big, but it wasn't. You have some cult classics to a certain extent, depending on how you look at them. But
Yeah.
It wasn't a big, the early the early 90s, the mid 90s till Scream came out and kind of people started putting budgets back into horror again. Whether good or bad, they started giving money back to the franchise. They realized they can make money because even the late 80s, to a certain extent, the money started going downhill again. You know?
Horror started getting invested again. It wasn't Texas Chainsaw because that was 74. I think Halloween kind of reinvigorated, hey, we can actually put some money towards these. And then, like, Friday the 13th, the Nightmare on Elm, like, when those movies came out...
I don't even know if Halloween really did that well. It did good, but I don't think it did as much in the theaters. I think it was more of a...
No, but I think it did good enough that people were willing to invest a little more into it.
Yeah, I think Friday the 13th really broke the door open, though.
Yeah, Friday...
That was the movie in theaters that really broke the door open and just...
Yeah.
There were some before it. There were some, like Halloween made, like a good mark, but I really think Friday the 13th broke the floodgates open for that.
See, I think Halloween was...
It was a year later, I guess. It wasn't like...
And that's what I'm saying. Like, they were so close that I think, like... Friday the 13th was probably already halfway done by the time Halloween was released. So it was coming out anyway. It wasn't riding the coattails. It wasn't... It didn't get a whole bunch of money because Halloween... But
no, it didn't get any money. I don't even think it was. It was probably being made before.
That's what I'm saying. It was
depending on when it was released and finished shooting. Yeah, there could have been a
Sean
script
Cunningham.
Already.
His dad was like a bigwig at Paramount, and even his dad wasn't giving him extra money for Friday the 13th. Even though Halloween, got popular or whatever, I don't think horror movies started seeing that kind of money till about 81, 82. And then, you had big name directors, decent sized actors.
Well, the sequels. Stuff. Well, Friday the 13th made a big splash, and then the sequel made a big splash, and then the third one really jumped up in the money with them.
Massive.
But the first ones were the third one is. I mean, the first one was that opened the floodgates. The third one is what nailed it for them.
Yeah.
Like money wise, even though the other two.
The
And then you had
one
Nightmare on Elm Street. No, I'm just saying the third one is what really. Made them a ton of money. The fourth one made a ton of money for them also, and then for some reason they decided to kill them off, even though it made a ton of money because they were fucking stupid.
And that's the issue. The fourth one actually did so well that they said we cannot stop doing this. It's smart. Unfortunately, they came back with part 5, and we all know what happens there. But yeah, Scream reinvigorated, I guess, the horror scene, getting these bigger budgets, bigger stars, bigger directors, because I think from 88 to 95, when CG was starting to get like good, like T2 and like Jurassic Park, I think that was like
but see, T2 and Jurassic Park, it's a different CG, but they basically went bankrupt making those movies for that CG was so
They didn't make money until like 30 years later.
Yeah. So like you can't even count. Like they put so much money into that CG, it's ridiculous to make it look the way it was, where these other movies just couldn't even come close to fronting the bill.
I think other movies tried doing that at a smaller budget, trying to recreate that.
Yeah. Well, even action movies, even action movies couldn't recreate that with a smaller budget. Never mind horror, which is a totally different CG.
Would you? I hate to say it because there's so many classics that came out in that time, but from like 88 to 94 was like they're like just a cinema slump, like not just horror movies, but like action, horror, drama, thriller. I mean, see you remember
not necessarily. I have to go back and really think about it, but I don't think so. I think it was more of a horror slump.
Just horror, okay.
It was also things were changing. Like action started to change a little bit.
Yeah.
Your Rockies, your Rambos, your Chuck Norris, your Steven Seagal movies, all that stuff started to change.
Van Damme.
They started getting older. Yeah, the Van Dammes, like they just weren't doing what they went and branched off and tried other things in different movies, and they started to fail. You know what I mean? Like, Stop or My Mom Will Shoot, with Stallone, and I think
what though?
I guess that might have been earlier, but he did Rhinestone Cowboy. That wasn't like good, but that might have been earlier. I don't know.
That was a little earlier, but even Like even like I think Schwarzenegger was the only one who was impervious to like those shitty
He's
movies.
the only he's the only one. Well, his was in the
80s,
mid to late 90s was when his movies started. Not that the movies were bad, but that's when they started falling off for him.
Right, and I'll even say because like he did in like his peak, he was doing Kindergarten Cop and Twins, but like they're okay. And
they Kindergarten Cop, Twins, Junior.
They did well. Junior,
yeah, like they all did well. Yeah, he picked his movies right, you know.
And then Batman 4.
I mean,
it's not his fault. It's not his fault.
Yeah.
I don't fucking
Batman
Joel
around
Schumacher.
Joel Schumacher. But I mean, Arnie was good in that though.
Mm-hmm.
He was cheesy.
Oh,
People thought he was a little over the top cheesy, but that worked for me at least, and that's what I would want to see from.
He's the only person that could have done that justice.
No, I mean, there's other people that if they wrote like the way it was written, Arnold's the only one that could have did it justice. But if they would have wrote him. If they would have wrote him differently, the way they wrote him, no one else could have pulled those one-liners off in the shitty.
Yeah, the character himself, how it was written, that was short. Yeah, obviously, if they wrote him different, they could have Wesley Snipes be Mr. But and I'll even just real quick off topic. I'll even go back and say like in the third one, Batman Forever, fucking Jim Carrey is the Riddler. You know, a lot of people give him shit. You know. No, dude, Jim Carrey was like the perfect
Did they give him
Riddler.
shit for that?
Yeah,
I never really saw anyone give him shit for that.
So
that was on actually yesterday. I think it was. I was watching it again.
You watched it?
Well, they had a Batman. They had a bat. So on that Reels channel, Reels HD or whatever, they had a Batman fest. So they had Batman, Batman Returns, Batman Forever, Batman and Robin, all throughout the day, just kept replaying. And actually, I think it's next weekend. They're doing Tremors 1 through 5. Then they're doing Christine, Cujo, some other it's like
they do like
it was like
themes.
all the it was like monsters and vehicles that day or something. So it was like all the Tremors movies, and then they were getting into like vehicle stuff. I forget there was some other movies and stuff, but it was like a big weekend.
Well,
it
was
a
lot
all
of people's
weekend
complaint
long.
Was that Carrie didn't take it seriously, and my thing's like, do you know the Riddler? Are you guys familiar with who the fucking Riddler is? He's not a serious character.
I thought he took it seriously. That's why it was the way it was.
Like maybe like his portrayal, I guess, before he became the Riddler, he's like this manic scientist and shit. But it's like the movie's not about him; it's about the Riddler.
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah, there was I just think, like you said, the horror slump picked up in '96. Unfortunately, there was a ton of shitty movies. I wish this was the movie that everyone copied and it reinvigorated the horror movie, because we would have got way more movies like this and not I Know What You Did Last Summer and that bullshit.
Yeah, I Know What You Did Last Summer, Urban Legend. Even though I kind of liked Urban Legend, it was
the first one's good.
It was shitty enjoyable. Yeah, and then. But I didn't expect anything from that yet. Well, I mean, Final Destination started out cool. It was different.
Yeah.
But it just got ridiculous and dumb. The premise, they milked it way too long. It's like going to see. Well, not that I like them, but it's like the same thing. Like, how many fucking Paranormal Activity movies can you fucking make? You know what I mean? You get what I'm saying? It's like how many Final Destination movies can you legitimately make? What is there, seriously, 7 of them? You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think
I know that there's 5, and then they made another 1 or 2 more after that. Later on, there's a little bit of a gap. You know, but it's seriously, how many Final Destination movies can you make? The first one was really cool. Second one's cool. You amp up the blood. It's like Saw. You know what I mean?
Yeah. It's funny.
Saw's a little different because it's a little, but yeah, I know what you mean.
There's a list. I know we save our lists, but it's the slasher movies that tried to cash in the success of Scream, and it starts off with "I've Been Waiting for You," which came out in '98.
I didn't even know that was a movie. Yeah.
Yeah. 2001.
I Know What You Did Last Summer was the big one, and then it was I Still Know You Did Last Summer. With
that
Jennifer
was the sequel.
Love Hewitt. Yeah.
Yeah, she was in the first and second one.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah, Jennifer Love Hewitt just in general was a star. Yeah.
Oh yeah. Number 7
Among
is
other.
Valentine from 2001.
That's a guilty pleasure of mine. It's like bad. It's like bad, but I just enjoy because like I hate the characters so much. I enjoy watching them die.
Yeah. Oh, dude,
You know
there's
what I
tons
mean?
of movies like. Oh my god.
You know
yeah.
what I mean? Like it's like
Oh,
so
yeah.
bad that I just enjoy it for like selfish reasons. But it's not really a good movie.
Yeah,
But,
and then actually it says the main actress in that was also in Urban Legend. So there's that. Number 6 is Cherry Falls from 2000.
I never heard of it.
Yeah. Number 5, Halloween H2O.
I kind of want to forget about that. And you know what? I think like that movie more now than I do when it came out.
Yeah.
But it's still not a good movie, but it's like an okay movie. Like it's kind of fun to watch. Even though but here hold on, you have to disregard anything that you ever known about the series. Like you kind of have to just pretend it's not Michael Myers in order to enjoy the movie. You know what I mean? It has some fun deaths, has some cool shots, but overall the movie is just not good.
I'm happy they didn't move forward with the story from part 6. Like, that is the one thing about H2O I enjoy, is that they did not continue part 6's.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Part 6 is kind of like
Paul Rudd, man. That's all I gotta say.
Part 6 is like the Freddy vs. Jason of the Halloween in a way, where it got rewritten so many times and fucked with so much, and then
and Donald Pleasance passed away.
He passed
so
away. They had limited shooting. It's like 3 from Hell, where Sid passed, so it almost like doesn't feel right to like continue. You know what I mean? Because like Sid was a huge part of the. You know, they try to replace. No, but you know, Donald Pleasance passing, the whole movie was rewritten, and then you have part 4, which I enjoy. I actually liked Halloween Part 4.
Yeah.
5.
Oh my god. Yeah.
5. I didn't realize the Man in Black had such a huge role in that movie. Because because that's an older movie.
Did you
still.
rewatch?
I was younger.
Yeah.
I've watched it a bunch of times over the years, but it wasn't until a couple years ago when I really like watched it instead of just like enjoying the movie, because it's a fun movie, and I started going through like about like how the movie was made and like really picking apart, like watching some like it's actually an interesting movie to learn about more so than watch it. Like when they tell you about all the things they had to do, they had actually we just talked about her because she was Danielle Harris, because she was young then.
Danielle Harris.
She wasn't the hot Danielle Harris that we know now.
Yep.
You know, she actually did some of the stunts as a little child, so they actually broke a lot of laws.
Oh yeah.
Making them, to save some of this for when we go over it, but
we'll get into it eventually. But we talked about the Man in Black, obviously.
But they still could have saved it. Crucial. Like it was like he had a big part, but it was still vague. You know, it wasn't like set in stone yet of who he was going to be and what it was going to be about. You just knew there was this guy, and he broke Michael Myers out at the end of the movie, and then part 6 just went way over the fucking deep end with the 18 different remakes. Now, the director's cut that they made makes a little more sense. It makes a little more sense, but it's still.
But this is the same thing with
it's still out there.
This is the same thing with Invasion USA. It's like the director's cut out. Or the theatrical.
Well, no, the director's cut almost actually makes it like a whole new storyline. It's not even
right. That's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, there's a totally different ending.
Is a completely different movie, but the problem is it's still not a good movie.
No, it's still a bad movie. It's still with tons of continuity issues, tons of just plot holes on top of it's just bad.
If Halloween 6 is a 4 rating, the director's cut is like a 4.5. I'm not giving it like
you don't no, you maybe give it a 5, depending. You know what I mean? Like
what kind of mood I'm in. Yeah, absolutely.
And honestly, because there's tons of shit in that movie that doesn't make any sense either, and it's just it's just brutal.
I can't wait to. I can't wait to break into our Halloween stuff, which we will get there eventually. But number 4 was Urban Legend, which we already said.
Shitty movie, but fun, yeah.
Number 3, and this one pisses me the fuck off, Bride of Chucky.
That was 96?
No, it was 98. But they're talking about movies
just the
that
90s.
cashed in on the success of Scream. I don't think you could even put that movie in the same realm.
I don't think it cashed in on Scream at all.
That's what I'm saying. Like, it was a horror movie that came out after Scream. There was tons of them. What the fuck does that have to do with Scream's popularity? It would have been made eventually at some point anyway.
Do you think maybe because it got a budget compared to the other movies? Like, if that's their argument. It inadvertently cashed in off of Scream because it got a budget and it got a director that wasn't really known for horror as much. He just directed, and then he did some horror movies after, I think, but
if that's
that Asian
this
guy
list,
did it, yeah.
They have to
I can see.
These...
You know what? I can sort of agree with them. I'm sorry, I keep cutting you off, but I'm just like, I'm talking and ranting and thinking.
Yeah, but listen, if any other movie came out in the 90s, 96, if it wasn't Scream, Bride of Chucky still would have came out eventually.
I don't know. Honestly, I don't know if it would have came out. I don't know.
Maybe it didn't have the budget, but I believe it still would have been out. I believe they would have continued.
Maybe it should be further down the list because it's not directly. It's in it indirectly to a certain extent because it got a bigger budget because they feel like they could have cashed in and made a ton of money because of Scream's popularity. But I don't know.
What I'm saying is though, like Urban Legend, Final Destination, those movies were like blatant rip-offs. But when you're talking about just cashing
Final
in
Destination
on success,
wasn't a...
No, but I put it in the realm house
of...
I know, but I put it in the realm house of like the teenagers and they're in danger. They're all good looking. They're all on like CW fucking, drama shows.
Yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah.
Yeah. So like basically Freddie Prinze Jr. and Love Hewitt, basically they were. But if this list was movies that got a bigger budget because of the success of Scream, I would agree that Bride of Chucky did get that because of Scream, and well deserved. Number 2 is Final Destination, which again
we just talked about it. Yeah.
Yep. And number 1, obviously, I Know What You Did Last Summer.
Yeah. Which was pretty much almost an exact ripoff. I mean, different killer idea, but like the formula for that movie is almost the same.
Seniors in high school, about to go to college, they end up, having to deal with the killer that they don't know who it is, and it could be anyone, and they kind of tell you it's this guy or this guy. It ends up being someone completely. Yeah. It's a Scooby-Doo fucking mystery, and they were popular in the mid and late '90s. I guess, Scream.
Although I think we got the song by Offspring, DUI, though, from that movie.
I like
that song.
I'd rather get Offspring in Idle Hands instead of
I'm just saying I like that
their
song,
soundtrack. Yeah, but back
the soundtrack
to
blows, but I'm just saying that song. Yeah,
back to From Dusk Till Dawn. It should have been the movie. The movie scene would have been a lot different in the late '90s if this was the movie that got the popularity instead of Scream.
As popular as this is, people are saying why are you reviewing this? Like at the time, this would have been the Grindhouse film of the horror by far.
I really hope nobody would ever question.
No. I'm saying like because we say we like to cover more of the Grindhousey films. We won't want to cover anything that's like the big Hollywood production.
Stuff that was in a Grindhouse or stuff that would have been in the Grindhouse if the Grindhouses were around.
Yeah, this totally would have been a Grindhouse film.
Absolutely. I really hope people like don't think that this was like something.
Well, I think
Clooney.
Well, I think some people think this is as like a big movie, but George Clooney also wasn't 100% George Clooney yet, though either. He was ER. He was a rising star, but he's not the George Clooney as of 2000.
And he was in ER, and I think he was in Grizzly 2, which we'll talk about one day, ladies and gentlemen. I swear to God, we will get to that. but unfortunately, the last person who did a review of that movie, Grizzly 2, it was a movie that was never finished, and the last guy who actually reviewed that movie, who got the footage, was the Cinema Snob, and he actually got threatened with a lawsuit from the creator of that movie because that movie was never supposed to see the light of day, and now you can't find that episode anywhere of him reviewing it. And it has George Clooney in it. It has Julia Louis-Dreyfus. It's something.
Well, you know what? Like, we could review it. Doesn't mean we have to show anything.
Yeah, as long as we don't show footage.
Can't sue someone for talking about stuff.
Talking. Yeah. And you know what? Hey, Brad, if you ever listen... Brad, if you're ever listening to this, I'm not throwing you under the bus at all, okay? But when the Cinema Snob reviewed the movie and felt the legal actions coming towards him, he blew up. Dude, more people wanted to go watch that review that he did because of the fucking controversy surrounding it. So if they come after us and they make us famous, hey, thank you. Fuck, man, where do you start with From Dusk Till Dawn? Director, writer, producer. I mean, what?
I mean, I guess you talk. You just go down the list. So we talked about Robert Rodriguez for the most part. You know, he's big, known for
El Mariachi, Desperado. Those were his big
and he's
things
covered
at the time.
A bunch of other stuff since then. I don't want to get too much into it, but
no.
I would actually just like to cover him general, like overall, but
I do want to say though, before we move away from him, please do not judge him on Shark Boy and Lava Girl. He did that for his kids. Just letting y'all know that. Yeah,
well, I mean, I mean, he also did Spy Kids 1, 2, and 3.
Oh no,
was in, I think one of them. Like,
that's what I thought it was. Shark
supposedly
Boy,
those made
Spy
some money
Kids.
and were good. No, he did do Shark. He did Adventures of Shark Boy and Lava Girl 3D.
Okay.
So maybe that's the third one.
Yeah, it's.
I don't know. I don't know nothing. That might be the third one, but.
No, it's the third one. I just thought that was the only one he did, but then I saw Spy Kids. I'm like, oh, well, he didn't do Spy Kids and that. But no,
he did Spy Kids, Spy Kids 2, Spy Kids 3. He might even did one
Spy
later
Kids
on. But
4.
I mean, I don't know. I have no idea.
Yeah, he was the producer.
Oh, yeah, 4D. Yeah, All the Time in the World. It was like 2011.
Yep.
I mean, he did a lot of things. He did Sin City. 4 Rooms. He did one of the episodes in there. I highly recommend that movie because I've talked about it before on the podcast. It's split into 4 kind of episodes, and Tarantino does one. He does one. A couple other famous, a lot of famous people in there.
Yeah, I think you told me the other 2 when we talked about it last time. But
I'm not getting into it. Yeah, did Machete.
Before From Dusk Till Dawn, he did a short thing called like Austin Stories or whatever. But El Mariachi and Desperado were the 2 big things he did.
Well, El Mariachi, was his big thing that hit him. That's what, like later on, that's what got him discovered, basically.
Yep.
And then Desperado was like his big movie.
El Mariachi was filmed with a budget of $7,000. And that is the living proof that budget means nothing.
You know what movie we forgot to bring in that I don't really like, but I think you do, that was in those 90s? We're going to bring up The Faculty. He directed it.
I love it. I love it.
I know you do. I didn't like it very much at all. But I had to see it again. I only remember it from then, and I was like all against that movie. Maybe it was just all those types of movies.
I'm surprised The Faculty wasn't on that list.
Yeah, that's why. That's what I'm saying. We missed it because it's not on there because maybe it wasn't as big as a hit, but.
It's an alien horror movie, monster movie, and that's what saves it for me.
Kids in high school kids, yeah.
It says that he was an uncredited producer of that movie.
Yeah, he probably worked in the shadows. He directed it.
Did it say he directed it?
He directed it. Yeah, I'm on the director credits.
Yeah.
But he was probably he probably had a producer credit also for some stuff.
Yeah, they're giving him an uncredited producer credit under his main story thing or whatever. Now, the other thing is,
the one thing new that he yeah.
No, I'm just saying, if anyone has seen that and they haven't seen Desperado or El Mariachi, they're actually in the same universe. Once Upon a Time in Mexico
they're all sequels, basically.
Yeah. But see, when Once Upon a Time
in Mexico was as good as the other ones, though.
Nope. What was that?
By far,
Brad
that's
Pitt?
like the worst one.
It is.
I think what Johnny Depp I think is in it. He's like one of the main bad guys, isn't he?
Johnny Depp.
I haven't seen it in forever. I saw it once way back. Well, that's another movie I should probably go watch again, but I don't remember it being very good at all, and was not a fan. Like, it had the typical cool gunfights and stuff, but overall, like, I'm so team Desperado. You know what I mean?
It wasn't. It wasn't Brad Pitt. It was Johnny Depp and Mickey Rourke.
Yeah,
that's right. I forgot Mickey Rourke.
I mean, Brad Pitt could have been in it, but I don't remember. Yeah.
Yeah, it is the weakest, but I also think it got the most exposure, like in American.
Oh, it also got the biggest budget. That's what he said. Another thing about budget. El Mariachi is a better movie technically, and it has no budget. And that one got that one. That one was like a big action movie. I wouldn't even consider that a Grindhouse movie at that point in time. Desperado, I would, even though that movie blew up and it was had like an okay budget, but it just.
But the thing is, the budget could be minimal or large, or the popularity could gain after a while, just like Texas Chainsaw. That was a Grindhouse movie that gained steam, but it's still a Grindhouse movie. Yeah. Desperado, for sure, was a Grindhouse movie, regardless of how popular it got.
Yeah.
And then the Grindhouse thing in the 2000s, Death Proof and Planet Terror. I believe he did Planet Terror, right? And Tarantino.
Yeah, he did
Death
Planet
Proof.
Terror and Terror. Yeah. But one thing in his later career that he did that actually is really cool that people should look into is Attila, Battle Angel. It's kind of like it's an animated action, almost borders of that anime-ish. Even though I'm not a huge anime fan, I mean, I'm sure there's stuff out there I would like, but I never got into. But it got a big release. I don't know how popular it was, but he directed it. But it's actually really good. Like, it's a really cool movie. It's actually got a story too. It's not just full on like an action. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's quality. The same when you get a chance. Stuff. Yeah, it's cool. What?
I just saw something that was announced as Machete Kills in Space.
Yeah, that was supposed to be the third one. It was like a joke for a while ago. It was on the end of the second one. It was like one of how they make the joke trailers, and then that was announced like ages ago. Whether it actually goes through, we'll see. But he apparently did 16 episodes as executive producer of Lucha Underground, which is probably why it was so good in the early years, 2014 to 2015.
That was actually the golden era for Lucha. I would even say to 2016. But after that,
well, it had like first 2.5 seasons of 4 were like top notch. Yeah. If anyone doesn't know what that is, it's wrestling on the El Rey network, but it's all Mexican wrestling. But it has a lot of like known-ish some American wrestlers here and there. They were journeymen elsewhere, but hugely popular in Mexico, even though it was filmed in Southern California.
Yeah,
and then a bunch of guys that were rising stars there or huge stars now in
the WWE or
other areas, AEW, because Cage guy was something else, like whatever, and he's huge now. He's working with Taz, apparently.
One of the bigger guys was Prince Puma, who is now today's Ricochet.
But WWE. They did him dirty in WWE, and now he's not even with them. Apparently,
he's
didn't
with
last
them.
more than is he? I thought they kicked him out. Like he was like a year or two, and they booted him.
He was
and
awesome
he was in the underground.
He was awesome in NXT. Then they put him on the main roster. They fed him to Brock Lesnar at one point, which obviously you know how the fuck that's gonna go.
Yeah, they
and now he's in a tag team with another cruiserweight high flyer. Very talented guy.
Super talented. I heard he's hard to work with though. He got an ego towards the end of Lucha Underground. But again, a lot of guys did with that because it got so popular so quick, it almost went the way of ECW and imploded. Yep. Bad management, lots of talent, just down the drain, unfortunately. For someone that, like me, that doesn't watch a lot of wrestling, I watch a lot of videos about it.
Yeah, no, dude.
I pick up a lot of stuff. It's funny.
There's a ton of content on YouTube that revolves around wrestling that people watch, and they don't watch wrestling. You know,
Okay, shout out to Hannibal TV. Now, if he ever watches this, I really enjoy his fucking videos. He makes good quality stuff.
Hannibal's very cool. If I'm gonna also, like, if we're gonna talk wrestling for 30 seconds, Brian Zane, Wrestling with Regret, is my favorite wrestling YouTuber. And then when it comes to news, like if you want to watch any kind of decent channel with news, Cultaholic is my preference. They were the guys who were from What Culture Wrestling that brought What Culture Wrestling like 1 million subscribers. Then they all left and formed their own channel, which is why What Culture is kind of like today.
I haven't even seen a What Culture Wrestling video anymore. I don't think they even do them.
No, they do. I'm subscribed.
Do they?
But they're not.
All right. Yeah.
They're not.
Because What Culture just started a horror channel now. We're competing with them.
I saw.
Brand new horror channel.
And fuck.
I know a lot of their videos are trash, but the girl that does it's pretty cute.
yeah, she. And you know what? When a new channel
gets
comes
them
out that revolves around.
I was gonna say that's gonna get them viewers, right? Yeah.
Yeah, that's it. But a new channel that comes out that revolves around horror, they have so much to go off of because they haven't done anything. So they could still do top best horror slashers of the 80s.
Well, they used to do stuff every now and then, like in their What Culture in general. You'd get like your random, but now they realize I think they're going to try to tap into a whole nother market. Pretty girl, horror. Make her look like a goth chick, even though she's probably not really. You know, give her, you know.
Yeah, no.
Give her the whole makeup.
Luckily, we got Gore because
I know we got to start pimping Gore more.
Yeah, if it was just you and me, I think we would be in trouble here.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Definitely.
Obviously, so there's Robert Rodriguez. We don't have to go too far into Quentin Tarantino because
I don't even think we're talking about it at all. We've talked enough already.
You know who he is.
Yeah.
That if you're watching this, you know who the fuck Quentin Tarantino is, and he will get an episode eventually. Yeah. I promise you guys. Yeah. But we don't have to get into that.
And we'll go into the little nitty-gritty with him. And honestly, I don't even think we go over his movie discography when we do it. We just do an about him, when we do that.
I think we could do a list of movies that he either acted in or wrote and not do anything he directed.
Yeah, it's possible.
You know?
So funny story, though. He got paid $1,500 to write this.
Yep.
And that's it. And then Robert Kurtzman, the other writer, he got paid $1,500 and traded for Kurtzman, the other writer, is also a special effects guy, which is where I wanted to go next. So this kind of ties in. Kurtzman shot the ear slicing scene in Pulp Fiction for him as part of him writing the screenplay for this movie. So he got $1,500 and this dude to do a scene, which is one of the most remembered pivotal scenes in that movie.
Yeah,
it was kind of like the breaking point in that movie in a way. What he does to that cop.
Kurtzman, like you say, even though he's credited as a writer to this movie, his bread and butter has been special effects, right?
Yep. Yeah, so we have an episode coming up. We still got to do about Kevin Yeager Productions, and he worked for that crew. He's worked for KMB Effects. They did, the usual. There's Leatherface, Section of Chainsaw Massacre 3, Halloween 5. I think it was. No, they didn't do Halloween 5. I'm sorry, I'm mixing. They did Ticks, Lord of Illusions, Clive Barker movie, 1995 is fucking excellent. I love that movie. That's something I want to talk about one day. They did Boogie Nights, not a horror movie, but the effects were
big movie.
Yeah, Phantoms. I think that's the Ben Affleck.
Motherfucking Phantoms, yo.
Ben Affleck was the bomb in Phantoms. Vanilla Sky, the Tom Cruise movie.
Yeah.
I think it's Karen. They did some big stuff is what I'm getting at. And then I believe he started his own. I mean, I don't want to go into the list of things. He's done vampire movies, horror, main movies, action cheesy, B movies, Grindhouse. Like, I mean,
he will get his own featured.
He's going to get a long episode, unfortunately, because he might actually get a 2-parter because of how many movies are on here. Just as we do our little spiel, about, because there's just so many movies. Like, he's got 118 just in the special effects department alone, makeup. And
that's the thing. That's what makes it impressive, that the fact that he was a co-writer of this movie. You know what I mean? He's multi-talented. It's not just special effects. The guy can write. The guy knows story. The guy knows plot points and arcs. So yeah.
And he was the first guy to pay Quentin Tarantino to write a screenplay too. He was the first one. He gets
so definitely gotta get him in the featured person category for sure.
Yeah.
Now, it's funny because this movie has some notable actors in it, but some of these notable actors aren't necessarily big parts in the movie. And as we record this today, ladies and gentlemen, I just saw that one of the people in this movie, she plays newscaster Kelly Hogue, was Kelly Preston, who passed away today from breast cancer.
Yesterday.
Wait, today's Monday.
Today's the 13th. She passed away on the today's the 13th. It's July 13th as recording this. She passed away on the 12th of July
2020.
Yeah.
Yep. If you guys didn't know her, she was an actress. She was married to John Travolta for quite some time.
They have his first child is with her.
Yep.
She unfortunately was in Battlefield Earth. She was in Jerry Maguire with Cat in the Hat movie. I mean, she has 72 actress credits. I mean, she has a lot of stuff.
Maybe we talk about her one day as like a tribute to her passing. And
stuff
like
that. In the next couple weeks, maybe we'll do a thing.
Yeah. Yep. Also,
she was in Jack Frost, but not the good one.
Not the one that we want to talk about. Fred Williamson's in this movie, which coming up.
Yeah, that's coming up in featured actor. I'm gonna be doing that for everyone. I've just been slacking, among other things. Unfortunately, I'm trying to get the streaming back on track, and it's like I gotta find the happy balance between streaming video games and making videos. So I gotta find that happy balance. I'm trying to get that going again, and I'm trying to stream on 2 different channels, so on Twitch and Facebook.
Oh, dude.
So I'm trying to do that.
Like literally,
happy
when
medium.
I'm not doing this here. I mean, obviously we know what each other does, and the audience all they know is the footage that we put out. But literally, if I turn to my right like this, now I have my YouTube set up with like my pro camera and all that, and I literally, that's how I make my other videos, is I just sit here like this and put those out. Do you hear that?
Yeah.
That's my drum throne because my computer chair is shitty, but this God damn it.
Sounds like the gate opening during the Tales from the Crypt fucking thing.
So yeah, Fred Williamson, we are going to be covering him. Wolfman is, and there's a 1974 movie that he did that I cannot wait for Wolfman to say the name of.
No, that's the one I'm not.
So
is that the word we're not allowed to say, Jim?
You know exactly.
That's the one I was talking about. There's many movies of I think of his. There's probably like 2 or 3 that I probably cannot say the name of them without getting extremely ridiculed.
Stabbed. Yeah.
He was a huge blaxploitation actor, and anyone that doesn't know about blaxploitation, it's basically really fucked up, awesome action, horror to a certain extent, whatever, but done in the Tyler Perry way.
Movies.
It's all black people basically. For the most part, making, doing, directing, acting,
for black people.
For the most part, yeah. I mean, you had some white people here and there because someone's got to play the racist or the honky.
Your boss hog. Yeah. It's like that. It's like that Family Guy skit where Peter's going down the river and like the big black guy is like, "You don't ever say that. That's our word." He's like, "Okay, can you pass me the paddle, big N-word, Jim?" Sure. Oh man, that's how we're gonna have to do it. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Now, I also said earlier this movie could have been called The Tale of Three Cheeches because Cheech Marin is in this movie and he plays 3 different characters.
And they're all great.
And if you know what Cheech Marin, like, if you're very familiar with him, it's not hard to say what he is, but at least they tried making him look different as all 3 roles. You know, change the hair and the aging and yeah.
Yeah, he plays a border guard. He plays. Would you call him your like kind of circus maestro?
Yeah, like kind of like
in
a
way,
ringmaster.
Ringmaster, yeah, that's the word I was looking for. Yeah, like kind of like because he's outside dragging in customers, announcing, then he's like kind of one of the head guys, like, I guess. And then he plays Carlos, the drug dealer at the end that they were trying to get hooked up with.
And that Carlos is like him normal. He's wearing like a suit or whatever. Like that's him normal. The other ones they're a little bit more exaggerated. Obviously Cheech Marin from Cheech and Chong fame. If you don't know Cheech and Chong, we might actually have to cover it. Yeah. At some point we might actually have to cover a Cheech and Chong movie.
Those are GrindHaus films. They may be comedy, but they're GrindHaus films, man. There wasn't much GrindHaus comedy. Biggest comedy was like a big seller, but when you start getting into pot comedy, which is basically Cheech and Chong, that was still very taboo. I mean, it's still to a certain extent taboo today, but
pot and sex
you can go mainstream.
Back then were the 2 GrindHaus comedy features you could see. Movies like Porky's and stuff like that. Yeah. Now, eventually, Porky's did get a mainstream release and was massive.
Yeah, I mean, Porky's got big because it was just a good movie in general, but yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, like maybe that would be our first comedy movie review, would be Cheech and Chong. I mean, that seems appropriate.
Yeah, like, I guess...
Like Up in Smoke
was their first movie, so... Pretty sure that was their first one. It was Up in Smoke, Still Smoking, The Corsican Brothers...
The Corsican Brothers, yeah.
Fuck. That was their first like major type of movie they tried to do, even though it wasn't.
That was like,
you know what I mean, like
that was like their Princess Bride.
Yeah.
And But yeah,
Fuck.
definitely.
I'm pulling them. I have them all. I have almost every single one of them.
But I think that's a fair comedy to cover as our first.
Up in Smoke, Still Smoking, Corsican Brothers. I'm like pulling a blank. I know there's like this is gonna bother me. I'm looking it up.
Well, all right. So, Up in Smoke and the ones that you mentioned, they're like the big ones. I'm trying to think.
There's one that's got a yellow cover, and I'm literally like looking at it, and I can't think of. No, it's Cheech and Chong's next movie. That's what it is. So. Yeah, Up in Smoke is the first movie they did. Then it was Next Movie. That's the one with the yellow cover I'm thinking of with the circle. Then there's Nice Dreams. Yeah. And then Still Smoking. Actually, Things Are Tough All Over might have been another one. I have that. Then Corsican Brothers.
Yep.
And I think that's it when it comes to actual Cheech and Chong movies. But there's some other stuff where he kind of like...
They also went on the road as a stand-up comedy duo and did stuff as well.
Yeah.
Yeah,
he was in movies. He was in Cannonball Run 2.
Ghostbusters 2.
Yeah, I missed a ton of... It was in Born in East L.A. with Paul Rodriguez. He was like a comedian during like a pretty famous... Spanish comedian back in the day. Yeah. Yeah. I mean he's like the main role, but Paul Rodriguez is the other main role. So Born in the East LA, that's a good movie actually. It's funny.
Yeah.
Daniel Stern's in it. in that movie. I'm trying to think who else would be a big name.
I think I actually may have seen that. As soon as you said Daniel Stern.
Yeah, like he's an American. I think he's an American that goes to Mexico and they can't get back over the border, and then so he has to sneak back in. Even though he was born, that's why it's born in East LA. Like, but if I read here, I just clicked on it. When an LA-born American citizen is mistaken for a Mexican illegal alien and deported to Mexico, he has to do everything to get back across the border. So he got deported, even though he wasn't.
Yeah. I remember seeing that.
How appropriate for today's. No, it was a funny movie. It was a good one. Yeah, I mean, he's in a ton of stuff. I mean, he.
Trust me. Yeah, listen. We'll talk Cheech and Chong one day for sure. Boy.
Some other like little roles here, like John Saxon plays a role. You know, he's a FBI agent, Stanley Chase. He has like a tiny role, but it's John Saxton. You know, when you're doing certain movies, he's a good name to have in there. And they had Michael Parks plays the Texas Ranger, who's in Death Proof, Planet Terror, and fuck, we were just talking about it.
Yeah, we just said
Kill
it.
Bill.
Kill Bill. Yep.
Kill Bill. Went over Fred Williamson. They had Tom Savini come in and play Sex Machine. He's a pretty awesome role in here. A lot of people don't know Tom Savini can actually act to a certain extent.
Well, it's funny because this is
a movie that
Tom Savini was in as an actor only. Like, he might have given tips for special effects, but
I'm sure he helped out somewhere. But
as an actor, and that's cool.
Yeah.
I'm glad that he was able to do that. Obviously, Danny Trejo's in here, and
he's a pretty young Danny Trejo compared to like.
I think this
what
is
you're used to
movie,
seeing of him.
I think this is the first movie where Danny Trejo actually became Danny Trejo. I mean, yeah, he might have been in stuff before this, but I think this is where he started getting cast type.
Dude, he is one of the highest. Like, he's just whether he does so many things, even if he's just in it for like a scene and he gets like whatever. He has 383 actor credits.
Jesus Christ!
Like, you couldn't even like he has, and he's old as fuck now, so they really have a hard time doing movies with him. You know, he can't do the stunts and whatever. He's not in the shit. Like, he's still, a guy. He's still, he saved fucking people from a burning building or something not long ago. I mean, he can still, or a car crash or something. He pulled people out of a car crash. Dude, he's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28 things either completed, post-production, filming, pre-production, or announced.
Right.
That's more than some actors get in their lifetime, and that's all
their
like
entire.
That's
like you said, he might
nearly
only
30
show up
things
for 10 to 20 seconds. So whoever
a couple
does
minutes,
his IMDb page is on top of that shit, dude. You know, like, oh wait, you sneezed on the camera in this movie? Boom, credited.
Yeah.
You know. But yeah, obviously Danny Trejo is known mostly for these types of movies.
He was in Death Wish 4, The Crackdown. I don't even remember him being in that movie. I really have to go back and watch it again. Like,
yeah, probably a very small part.
Yeah, but it's not even the point. It's like he's so recognizable that you remember him. I have a whole thing on Amazon where like I've just clicked on a bunch of movies of his, like.
Yeah, the rabbit hole.
Yeah, the rabbit hole. I mean, apparently he was in Maniac Cop 2. He was a prisoner. I got to watch that again. I didn't even realize he was in that. Marked for Death with Steven Seagal. I honestly don't remember him being in there.
But, like, he was probably in a lot of movies before From Dusk Till Dawn, but he wasn't necessarily the character Danny Trejo yet. You know, like, people when
no, he was, like, but this is probably like he was, but this is like, well, Desperado, I think, really. Yeah,
Desperado, but like he was in like Planet Terror and
he was
Halloween.
in Heat. He was in Heat. Right, he was in Heat right before this, and he played Trejo.
Of course. Oh,
it's kind of funny.
He's in the fucking Devil's Rejects.
Yeah. Yeah,
yep.
he's in Three from Hell. He's in Devil's Rejects.
Yep.
Yeah, he's with Diamond Dallas Page.
Yo,
They played the bounty hunters. Yeah.
Oh, he was in that Triple X movie as El Jefe. I remember.
Yeah. But he literally right before Dusk Till Dawn, I think Desperado really made him. Even though he's done some other things before that, Desperado, Heat, and then Dusk Till Dawn was 3 movies all within 1 year of each other. That really.
So people got a lot of Danny Trejo in that time period.
Some pretty big movies. Yeah. Even if it wasn't huge roles, it's still memorable.
Well, he has a very noticeable
stuff.
face.
You
know, he has a very specific look to him. So
there's a movie from '93 I haven't watched in forever. He plays Geronimo. It's called Blood In, Blood Out. I haven't seen that in fucking ages.
You've seen Blood, dude? I actually meant to ask you.
Yeah.
Have you seen Blood In, Blood Out?
Yeah.
Dude. So
yeah, it's a fucking gangster movie.
Yeah, I worked with a guy from El Salvador, and one night after work, we were having a couple. He was having a couple beers. I just had a bottle of water, obviously. And he was telling me about what El Salvador was like before he left, because there was constant war with the rebels and the this and that. And then he brought up,
it's based on a true story.
Yeah, he said, have you seen Blood In, Blood Out? I said, no. He's like, go watch it. And actually went home. I found it online. I watched it. This is just 2 years ago. Great movie.
Yeah, you got Delroy Lindo. He was a big black actor of the era. He was in it.
Mm-hmm.
Billy Bob Thornton played Lightning.
Yep.
I don't remember the movie 100%. It's been a long time since I've seen it, but it was a very good movie.
It is. But, it's very good.
It was actually originally called Bound by Honor. You might actually see that title on a lot of VHSs.
Okay, so
it was blood. It was Blood In, Blood Out, Bound by Honor, or something like that, I think. But then it actually just got Bound by Honor and a bunch of stuff.
Yeah,
it's a great movie. Yeah.
So
it's more like a drama, but like I said, because it's based on the true life experiences of poet Jimmy Santiago Bacla. The film focuses on the stepbrothers Paco and Cruz and their biracial cousin Mikilo. It's this whole. And it's got an 8 on IMDb, so it's pretty high.
Yeah. Oh yeah. And I don't want to go too far. Obviously, it's funny. We mentioned a lot of the lesser actors of this movie, but we still haven't even mentioned the fact that Selma Hayek, Juliette Lewis, and Harvey Keitel are all in this fucking movie.
Selma Hayek. Oh,
now,
Selma.
Harvey Keitel, we are not going into right now. If you've watched
real quick, Danny Trejo is the only one that's in all 3 Dusk Till Dawn movies.
Yeah. Yep. I saw that on the on one of the facts thing or whatever.
Yeah.
Harvey Keitel, if you've watched any movie in the last 35 years, you've probably seen Harvey Keitel. That's it.
It's an amazing actor.
We'll talk about him again sometime, maybe if we ever do.
Well, he's going to get his own episode somewhere, yeah.
Yeah.
He gets his own actor spotlight eventually.
Yeah, and then Selma Hayek, obviously, again, one of the most beautiful women in Hollywood.
One of the most beautiful women in general that's ever lived. And she still looks good.
Funny.
Yeah.
Oh my God, she's great. I actually saw a Facebook post the other day where someone was they gave you the option, pick A or B, and it was Jennifer Lopez and Selma Hayek, and I'm like, who? Why? Not even a comparison, dude.
I don't know who would pick the rather.
Well, because they're both Hispanic. Yeah, racist. But of those two, obviously y'all know who it is. Of the 3, I mean, Juliette Lewis is kind of an interesting case.
Love-hate relationship with her in movies.
She was massive in the 90s. And, I mean, when I say massive, everything from What's Eating Gilbert Grape and Natural Born Killers.
Yeah.
Obviously she was in this movie. Just a lot of hits. Oh, California.
Cape Fear.
Cape Fear, that's right.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying she didn't do work after those, but the early and mid 2000s weren't necessarily.
She's still doing work. She got 94 actress credits. She just didn't do a lot. She stuck to the indies.
Hold on. Let me finish. Let me finish because she has had a resurgence in the last 5 or 6 years, where she's actually come out and she's done a little bit more noticeable stuff. I remember seeing her. Once I see it up here, I'll know exactly what it. Oh, she was in Ma, which is a newer horror movie that came out with Octavia. I think her name's Octavia Spencer. Pretty good movie. I'm trying to find the movie that I saw recently, and I was like, wow, hey, she actually looks pretty good for, you know what I mean? Oh, The Switch. It came out in 2010 or 2011 or whatever, and it had Jason Bateman in it. It's a comedy.
She was in the Basketball Diaries back in the day. That was a huge movie.
Yeah. Yeah, didn't that have, like, Mark Wahlberg?
No, that was Leonardo DiCaprio.
Oh, yeah, okay. Yeah.
That was with the whole, I think it was about AIDS or something, or I forget, like...
Yeah.
Then she was in, it was Strange Days right after, then Dusk Till Dawn. Yeah, like she just, it was in a row, man. She did Cape Fear, then she did a couple, whatever, then California, Romeo's Bleeding, What's Eating Gilbert Grape, National Born Killers, Mixed Nuts, Basketball Diaries, Strange Days, and then Dusk Till Dawn. She, like, just, those were all big movies. It's all big movies. Yeah, whether you like them or not, they all were big movies.
Quintessential 90s movies.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, she was, and good for her. And I'm glad that she's still working, and I'm glad that she's still getting good roles. I just wanted to bring her up. Obviously, not the level of Selma Hayek or Harvey Keitel.
No.
Now,
I just find her annoying to a certain extent.
Yeah, we are leaving someone out, and it's sad because he's one of the main characters of the movie. But he doesn't even have a picture on IMDb.
You talking about the son, Ernest?
The son,
Ernest Liu.
Ernest Liu.
Well, you know why? Because this is pretty much the only thing he's done.
Yeah, I looked and it's like
it's empty.
Okay.
This is it. This is all he's done.
He did a couple TV show series, like one episode. He worked on the camera and electrical department for another couple things, but like,
my on my IMDb it literally shows nothing when I click on it.
Oh really? Yeah. No, he has 7 actor credits, but literally from Dusk Till Dawn's the only thing worth talking about.
Oh no, yeah, I click on his name and he has nothing. Oh, never mind. There we go. There was an issue with the site loading in. That's why.
Oh, okay. But yeah,
right.
But you see what I'm saying,
but he has literally done nothing. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. He had to break in somewhere. Yeah.
He was a main part of this movie, and just didn't get anything after. So, sorry.
And Quentin Tarantino has a lot of makeup on and whatnot in the beginning of the movie, and then turns into his real self later because that big fucking noggin he's got. I swear the guy's got a tumor in his head because his head just keeps getting bigger and bigger. His forehead. He looks like Frankenstein.
It's all those ideas that he has up here for awesome movies. He can't store them anywhere else in his body.
He just doesn't make enough of them quick enough.
That's it. Act. That's literally what Quentin Tarantino looks like. If you don't get the reference,
he's aged horribly.
Yeah. You know what? His what's it called? His interviews with like reporters are hilarious. Like he doesn't give a shit if he's, like he answers the questions how he wants to answer them, whether he's trying to, like sell an upcoming movie or not. He doesn't have to do the circuit when you're trying to promote a movie. You go on all the morning shows and you do this and that. It's Tarantino, dude. He doesn't have to do that.
He's also the only guy in Hollywood that can just do whatever the fuck he wants too without getting shit for it.
Yeah.
I mean, people try to give him shit for things. But it doesn't stick. Like,
but it's
he just doesn't give a fuck, and he's just kind of grandfathered in because apparently he's got a Django vs Zorro movie announced. It does some characters and comics. And then Kill Bill 3. I didn't even know that was a thing.
I never.
It says on IMDb here. It says 2022. Because he just did this Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
Yeah.
Which is pretty cool. It's a little slow, but it's got really good writing. It's filmed really good, and definitely, a little fictitious, but an alternate take on the
Hollywood scene in that time.
Manson, the Hollywood, we'll just say the Hollywood scene at that time, yeah.
So, is there anything else besides like us getting into like the little trivia pieces? Because there's a lot of trivia for this movie, and obviously because it was it was a what's it called, Quentin Tarantino type movie. Obviously, all the internet nerds dug up everything they could and put it on here.
Yeah. We could probably do like a whole hour-long video of all the trivia on here.
Yeah, I don't want to.
Well, there's a couple things of note. There's a couple things of note. There's a couple things of good note here that I didn't go through all the trivia, but this movie was banned in Ireland on May 1st, 1996. Because the head of Ireland's Irish Film Censor Board, Seamus Smith, cited as irresponsible and totally gratuitous violence, which he felt was particularly untimely in the wake of the recent Dunblane and Port Arthur massacres in Ireland.
Okay.
On January 27th, 2004, the video was finally released and passed with an 18 rating in Ireland. So Irish people didn't get to see this movie till 2004.
Yeah, your basic NC-17 rating over there's your 18 or whatever, which okay.
No, it's 18 is like an R rating.
Oh, they don't.
It's not an NC-17.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. Like, why would they specify it? Is it 18 unless you have a
no? It's European. European rating's different. It's a totally different system. You can't compare it to an American system.
Yeah, but I'm not saying
everyone
rated
has their
R.
own.
I'm actually, because NC-17 is meant for 17 and older, no exceptions. Like,
no exceptions, but it's also frowned upon. An NC-17 won't be played in theater. It's almost like an X.
Oh yeah,
it's like a single
X.
X.
It is a kiss of death.
NC-17 is like rating a movie with a single X, basically.
Or
that's what you're. Or unrated. It's
Like the MPAA said, we are not touching this fucking movie. Good luck with it.
Yeah, but you'll see a lot of stuff in European. It'll say like PEGI 18 or whatever. That's what this is.
Right.
Like with games and movies and stuff. Like, I think you can get in with parental adult. I'm not sure, but they have an 18 stamp. Basically.
Right,
so
and that's what I'm saying.
It's different than...
But in America, it's either rated R, which is 18 and older, or
17 and older. Yeah.
Right, 17 or older. But with adult accompanying or whatever, you can get in. Where it's supposed to be NC-17 is nobody under the age of 17, whether you have a parent with you or not, whatever. That's what it's supposed to be. Whether that actually is... enforced.
I think they do hold up to that, but it's very rare a movie like a theater will even hold one of those movies in general. Though.
Yeah,
it's very rare.
Well, they don't want to have to turn anyone down from saying.
No, you usually get those like little indie theaters will have stuff like that because there's so far and few of them that they'll actually get an audience. They'll advertise for it and they'll make money off it.
Well, hey, thank God for the GrindHauses because those were the ones that were playing the NC-17s and your X's and your NRs
and your triple
and
X's
stuff.
and
Yep. Was Ireland the only one though? Because it seems like there would have been a few more.
I mean, I'm sure there's others. It's just one. There's just a big one that stood out when I looked through. Like it was on Wikipedia.
Yeah.
So.
Yep.
Yeah.
I did see on the IMDb that both Tim Roth and Steve Buscemi were both approached to play Pete Bottoms in this movie, but neither one could fit it into their schedule.
Which character was that?
Pete Bottoms. I don't remember anyone named Pete, unless they're talking about the cop in the beginning. Not the sheriff, but the other guy.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, I mean, this soundtrack is pretty good if you like that, like, Texas classic blues, classic rock stuff.
Yeah.
It's got that that ZZ Top, Stevie Ray,
Stevie Ray Vaughan,
Jimmy Vaughn.
Yeah.
No, Stevie Ray and Stevie Ray Vaughan are different.
Yeah, but
different artists.
I put Stevie Ray Vaughan in the same Texas style blues rock.
Yeah, but he's a little different. I'm just saying like there's slightly different. There's the band Tito and the Tarantula is the band that plays in the actual movie. They were in Desperado also. I give a shout out to them because their music's actually pretty cool.
Okay.
There was a video game for this. I don't know. I never played it. Yeah, Dusk Till Dawn video game.
Okay.
I don't even know what it was on. Looks like it's a computer game, third-person shooter, single player.
What would you say George Clooney was paid to play the lead in this movie?
Not a lot.
$250,000. Compared to the money that he would get for like the Ocean's movies and stuff like that,
yeah,
it's a fraction. Yeah. I'm
sorry. I'm just reading about the game. The game, just out of curiosity, was based on events that transpired directly after the end of the movie. So it's almost like a sequel. It was released for Windows and was distributed by Cryo Interactive. And one of the two survivors of the movie, Dusk Till Dawn, has been condemned to death for the murders of his dead brother Richie. Committed. Sorry, he is now an inmate of the fictional Rising Sun security prison, a converted tanker floating off the coast of New Orleans. Vampires infiltrate the prison by posing as inmates. They murder the transport guards and the warden and begin a rampage. In the chaos, Seth gains a weapon and escapes his cell. At the end, Seth kills the vampires and escapes the prison along with other survivors. So
yeah.
It got a very mediocre 63%, and a Metacritic gave it a 58 of 100. So,
yeah,
a lot of 6s, 5 of 7s. Game Zone gave it an 8.5. I guess it all depends on how much you really love the movie.
Yeah,
but
even good movies sometimes can't save video games, though.
Yeah, but this didn't come out to 2001, so it was like later.
Yeah, probably even after the second and third. Well, the third one I think came out in 2002, but definitely after the second one.
Yeah, but those are all prequels, though. They have nothing.
Yeah. But I'm just saying,
they more explore
how much has come out.
The mythology of
Right, but I was saying how much of the franchise had come out after or before the game came out, so more people could have had their eyes on it. I do want to read this one because you brought up the band. The band playing in the Titty Twister is Tito and the Tarantula, featuring Robert Rodriguez. It says Tarantula, but the lineup also featured Oingo Boingo drummer Johnny Vatos Hernandez. I did not know that. That's funny.
We had the
also,
what?
No, I was gonna move on to the next thing.
Yeah. No, and so you also have the famous line, "No thanks, I've already had a wife," that was improvised by Clooney. Yeah. And it was never intended to be in the movie, but apparently the studio put it in the trailer, so he felt obliged to leave it in there. So there was something else that should have been there instead. Selma Hayek had a real fear of snakes and had always refused to be near them. And so she read the script and knew her phobia would prevent her from taking part in the film because, as we'll see later, she has a pretty sweet-looking snake wrapped around her whole body, and then
massive albino python, like the one Britney Spears had. When yeah.
But Robert Rodriguez cornered her into thinking that Madonna was ready to nab the part, so Selma Hayek spent 2 months with a therapist to overcome her fear just to take this movie role.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah.
Madonna would have been the worst choice for this, though. I know she probably wasn't even in the lineup, but still, if she was in this movie, it wouldn't be the same. I did want to bring up...
Well, go ahead.
That this movie takes place in the Tarantino universe. We're not breaking down the universe, guys. But, you know, the Big Kahuna Burger that appears in Pulp Fiction is also part of this movie. And the beer from Desperado, I think I said it was Chonga beer, is also the beer in the Titty Twister. So, yeah. They're all in the same
Desperado
world.
is not really a Tarantino.
I know it's not
world,
a Tarantino. I know, but I'm saying, like,
yeah, but you missed the big connection. Is what we talked about earlier. If you're going to talk about the world, though, it's the sheriff.
No, I know, but we mentioned. I know, we mentioned.
I know,
but
when you,
I was just trying to.
Yeah, no, I know, but when you go over say the world, you know.
I know. I didn't want to break into how all these movies are connected. I just run those two little things. But yeah, earlier we did say the guy who plays the sheriff at the beginning.
But that's it. That's the only other connection, though. So I mean, it's
the product placement.
Yeah. Green blood was used for the vampires to get past the movie censors. I don't know what's the point, whether it's green or fucking red. Like, what's the fucking difference?
Ask Sam Raimi. Ask what a difference makes. Because remember Evil Dead 2?
Yeah. All the blood's like black or whatever. Yeah.
But that's the reason, because the rating boards
I know, yeah.
Shit.
Yeah. But it's so dumb, like, big deal. The color, like I mean, they're fucking vampires. Whether they bleed fucking red or green, who makes... I know, it's just dumb. It just bothers me when I see stuff like that. It's just...
In the 90s, when you would play a video game, they tried making all of the bad guys you had to shoot like robots because they didn't want to show blood. Or like maybe, you know, like a monster, because it couldn't be red. But they could show sparks and they could show like green blood, but it couldn't be actual red blood. I don't get it. We all know what it is.
Not with Lethal Enforcers. You were shooting motherfuckers in that game.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Straight
I think
up
that was
crime.
right when the not the MPA, the fucking ESRB was starting to crack down.
This is interesting. I didn't even know this. Selma Hayek didn't have a choreographer for her dance scene. Robert Rodriguez told her to just feel the music and dance to it. He used the same tactic with Jessica Alba in Sin City, 2005.
I could see that.
You didn't know that.
I mean, you really don't have to. I mean, she's a gorgeous Spanish woman. I'm sure she could, I'm sure she could move her hips suggestively. It's fun.
This is kind of funny. Well, go ahead.
I was saying, according to DVD features, Sex Machine, Tom Savini, is throwing around other characters. He was actually punching a lot of them in the face, including George Clooney. Good.
That's pretty funny.
Yeah.
Before George Clooney was cast, numerous actors were considered for the role of Seth Gecko, including Antonio Banderas, Steve Buscemi, Michael Madsen, Tim Roth, John Travolta, Christopher Walken, Jeff Goldblum, James Woods, and Robert De Niro. All passed because of scheduling conflicts. The only one to outright decline the role was John Travolta, who said he was not interested in doing a vampire movie and instead chose to do Pulp Fiction. How weird would this movie have been if you cast one of those other people instead of George Clooney?
Pulp Fiction came out 2 years before this movie, though. So, like, he probably could have fit it in. He probably was just like, no, I'm not doing that. But if John Travolta would be in that movie, he'd be like, oh my God, it's vampires.
They might have been shopping this movie previously, though.
Yeah, I'm just trying to think of how long. Because, like I said, after Pulp Fiction, Tarantino pretty much had his rights to go and do what he wanted.
Well, maybe Tarantino originally was going to direct this. We don't know. And then decided not to do these other movies and instead just wrote it for, Kurtzman. Or maybe Kurtzman was going to direct it, but then that fell through. Then finally they just like, hey, Robert Rodriguez did a great job with these other movies. Let's let him do it. Who knows? We don't know the full story.
Yeah.
So,
it'd be worth searching it up. I think also Christopher
I just don't know how you try to,
as Seth Gecko.
No.
Oh my God, Seth! Look, they're vampires. Wow. vampire. Like, just like, what?
Wow. Those some pointy teeth they got
Wow.
there. Wow.
2 mice swimming in a bowl of cream. It's like, all right, calm down. I give him a hard time. But he's a good bad guy.
Christopher Walken doing Cheech Marin's job at the door. Wow. We got.
You like beer? We got beer. Yeah. Titty twister. Welcome.
Yeah, welcome. We have all sorts of flavors of beer.
You know what? Fucking Christopher Walken was also in like one of those like animatronic bear movies, like not Bernstein Bear, but like the Country Family Bear movie or whatever. He played the bad guy. I know you told me he was the bad guy.
Yeah, I remember we had to talk about this.
And yeah, as they're dragging him out of the crowd, he yells, "I'll get you, bears!" And like, I want to make that my ringtone, just over on repeat. Yeah, you know what? There's tons of facts and there's tons of trivia about this movie. Obviously, anything attached to two notable writers and directors like Rodriguez and Tarantino, you're gonna have a lot of information out there because it's the internet, and the internet loves both these guys.
I could see Michael Madsen playing Seth Gecko and Tim Roth playing his brother. I could picture that.
I think Madsen could have worked. But the thing is,
it wouldn't be the same. It would work on a different level.
I want to get into this when we watch the movie, but I think Seth becomes more likable by the end of the movie, even though he's a piece of shit. I think Madsen would have had a harder time winning over the audience as a good guy. I think more people would have remembered that he was a piece of shit. You know what I mean?
Yeah, maybe. I mean, he's got a wide range, though, especially back at that time. He had a wider range, though. He wasn't just known as the Pulp Fiction guy.
No, but
slice that dude's ear off. He was very
very
charismatic then, too, though, at the same time. Like, as he got older and he had drinking issues, I'm sure he had drug issues and whatnot, he kind of never got the bad guy thing down anymore. Like, went away from it. And he almost, like, the bad guy became him. You know what I mean? Like, he was the guy. Where still early in the 90s, he could have played more of a role. I understand what you're saying, though, but I think he could have pulled it off. I don't think Jeff Goldblum is a badass, so I don't think he fits into the role. James Woods doesn't really fit in the role, even though James Wood did do a vampire movie and it was really good.
Michael Madsen was in one of those shitty Uwe Boll video game adaptations.
Yeah, it was Blood Rain.
Blood Rain.
Yeah.
Dude, it is so unfortunate watching him in that movie because he could give two shits less about his performance in that movie. Like, I swear he had beer burps in the middle of acting.
Yeah. That was during, I think, like, his bad time.
Yeah.
Like, he was not, I don't think, And the fucked up part is he was probably, like, one of the better actors in that movie.
Oh, he's probably the best actor in that movie.
Yeah, because Michelle Rodriguez didn't really do a good job acting there. Christina Loken can't really act, but, like, she's a good character and she's a pretty woman. She's very imposing, so she fits the Blood Rain role for the most part. I mean...
Yeah, but he could have been the saving grace. I mean, no, the movie was written terrible.
The movie was written terrible. There was no saving grace,
but he could have made that movie much better than what it was. I'll give him that.
I think he realized what he was getting into and maybe just showed up drunk on set all the time. I don't know. Dude, I don't know. We're just spitballing. We're making this all up. We have no idea, but
the check already cashed, and he's like, "Fuck it."
Who knows?
I got my money. I'm here. But other than that, is there anything else before you get in this movie?
I mean, I'm sure there's a ton of stuff in here. I just don't want to go through it all.
Yeah. We're not going to spend another hour and a half breaking down other stuff.
I wasn't expecting 93 different quotes.
I know.
or trivia things in here. I was expecting like 30 or so.
The normal 20 to 30.
Yeah. Like when we go through them, we get like when we normally do movies, there's somewhere between like 6 and 30 of them at most. Like I should have known better. It's a fucking.
But it's a Tarantino. It's like anything Tarantino's attached to. The internet movie guys fucking break down everything and they put everything out there. Whatever, it's cool.
Yeah.
But yeah, we gotta get into this movie, and we are both watching the version available on Vudu for free. There is ads, but hey, you know what? There's like 20 different sites that you can buy this or rent this for like $4 or buy it for 12 or 15. I have a hard copy somewhere in my DVDs, and I actually own the copy on Vudu that came with my hard copy. But I'm watching this one, so we are like watching the same version, the same, you know what I mean? So if you guys want to watch along with us, this is the Vudu version. Yeah, so like the last one I put it at the end, I wasn't, necessarily paying attention. Plus, I received it a little later than normal. But this is Gore's Pick of the Week, right back where it should be. Again, if you're not signed up to our Patreon, go do that now. You guys know what it's about. It's going to help us out, make everything a little bit better, production better, camera, computer, prostitutes. No prostitutes, I'm sorry, I didn't mean that.
Editing, alcohol, drugs,
coke, acid,
all the fun stuff. I mean,
DMT for when Joe Rogan stops by.
I mean, who doesn't want to see a Wolfman on DMT, since you all like drunk Wolfman in the videos? So, you know what I mean? Like,
I was gonna say, hey, according to the last live stream, everyone loves you after about like 7 fucking beers or whatever.
I drank 9 drinks that night. Thank you.
What did you have?
9.
9? Christ.
9 drinks in that 3-hour span.
Someone in the comment section said when you had to take a piss, they're like, oh, he broke the seal. Now he's going to be gone every 20 minutes.
No, I was pretty good about it.
No, it was one time, I think.
Yeah.
But, yeah, if you guys want to see that, check out our Facebook page. Go like us on Facebook. Obviously, Twitter and Instagram, the Slasher app, YouTube.
If you're listening to this on YouTube, go check us out on Spotify or Apple Podcasts too. If you're on the run and you can't watch video, you still can get the audio version. Check out our other videos. You want to plug? You're doing the GrindHaus Gripes now. You'll have a new one out soon. Probably by the end. I know.
August, maybe?
Yeah, the first week of August. So you're talking about making your new thing. I'm doing more gaming stuff. I think we're gonna try to do. I'm still toying with names, but as of right now, we have a running name of Hump Day Horror Gaming on Wednesdays.
Hump Day
Horror Gaming. We have Dead by Daylight. We have Alien, Isolation. We have Friday the 13th, 7 Days to Die, Dying Light.
You have Doom Eternal
Doom.
and Doom 64.
And Doom 64, Unloved, Immortal Redneck, Blood, Fresh Supply, Slain Back from Hell, which is a Castlevania-like game where I have some videos of me playing that on my Silver Bullet streaming YouTube channel. There might even be a video or two on our GrindHaus. I'm not sure. I don't remember. I technically have Predator, Hunting Grounds, World War Z. GTFO would really love to play with that with people because that is really dark and slow and just a creepy game, even though it's like a shooter, retrieval, Killing Floor 2. Yeah, I played it a little bit. GTFO, yeah, I mean, Gets Fuck Out, that's what it stands for.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've talked about it briefly. I have some other stuff, but yeah.
I might have to look up a little gameplay footage of that because I've never heard of it.
They're on like stage 3 of whatever the game's early access, so I don't know how much it's changed or if you can play the old stages, but I only played a little bit in the beginning. I'm weird when it comes to gaming. There's a whole Discord, and the Discord is how you get to play with other people because they don't really have a matchmaking system right now. So you go into their Discord and be like, hey, looking for a game in A1 or B2 or B2 or B1 or whatever the zone numbers are.
Right.
And, you link up with 4 people, and then you talk to each other, and you go in, and you're in sort of some sort of prison type scenario, but it's like futuristic. And I think you have to like clear out areas for some sort of futuristic being that kind of controls you. It's kind of like that episode of Walking Dead where they drop everyone in the crates, and they open the crates, and they're like, clear the zombies out for us, and when you're done, they whatever they did, put them back in the crates.
Yeah.
Or it's type that thing. So they like, oh, we need this or whatever. There's all these like mutants and monsters and whatever. And the game's super dark. I mean, like, you literally can't see a goddamn thing without a flashlight, but a flashlight will awaken things. So, like, you're, like, turning your flashlight on.
Pick your spots.
You get, like, glow sticks where you can throw glow sticks out, like, to certain areas, and they won't alert to monsters, but you'll see in that green kind of hue. There's spots where you got to hack terminals, but you got to use your keyboard to actually, like, type in and do almost, like, super entry-level hacking to figure things out. You got to remember numbers and doors. It's like super complicated, but like in a fun way. So if you get a good team, you have your usual gunplay.
It's something that
guns. You have turret systems.
Something you can pick up. Like if you had the same team, it's something that if everyone signed on, like 2 or 3 nights a week, you pick up where you left off. And...
So the problem is, I had a friend buy the game for me. He played it for 4 days and never went back to it. So then I got stuck. Like, he's the outgoing one. He would go and find teammates. I mean, like, we were playing the game with people from, like, Germany and some other country. You don't know what you're going to get, especially then when it came out. Now there's more local server area. There's a whole North American thing. You're not necessarily going to get, like, people from all over the world. Not that it was a bad thing. Those German people were actually really cool that we played with. And then we played with some people from, I think, South America it was one time.
But now that it's picking up a little more steam, it should be easier to find people to play with.
Yeah, games in North America. Yeah, they have North American like chat room areas again. But yeah, I mean, it was super dark. Could be kind of creepy, especially for people to watch. It's a little slow, but it's very tense.
And it sets the mood.
But
it's not
then
just,
you have like
super slow and nothing happens.
Yeah. But then, like, if you alert something, it gets like all hell breaks loose. But then there's also certain areas where you kind of have to post up and protect your area. Like, a horde of enemies will come at you. So they have, like, automatic turrets, like an Alien, you can place down, and some are different than others.
Yeah.
Like, you have different weapons, like, it's pretty cool. It's a really cool game.
That sounds like something I would want to watch on a game stream. Absolutely. Because, I'm not going to watch, like, Mario Kart on a game stream, because I'd rather play it. I'm seeing other people. But a game like that, or like 7 Days to Die, I would watch the shit out of that.
I'm not sure if Alpha 19 just came out, or if it's coming out, because it was in beta. So that means all my progress got reset. So we'll be... It's not a bad...
Starting
over, but that'd be good for anyone that wants to play. I'll get the server back.
And they could watch from the
and get a server, get a server back up and running. Maybe we can get some people to come in and play with us. So
yeah, if you guys listen to the GrindHaus podcast and you want more Gray and Wolfman, you go to the YouTube channel and the Facebook channel. Tons more videos. Like I said, GrindHaus Gripes. All of our video game streaming. We're trying to, like you said, do it on the Wednesday for the horror games.
And then we'll say Thursday and Friday I might be on Twitch. At least Thursdays I'll be on Twitch with my buddy Vintage DC. We'll be playing shooters. We were playing Dying Light recently. I mean, that's, zombies and stuff and survival and parkour type in a city. But we play a lot of shooters. But that's any kind of game
on Thursdays.
Yeah. Right? We play mostly shooters and stuff. Like, we plan on playing some Insurgency Sandstorm. That's the one you saw me play that you thought was cool. And then I got a newer game, even though it's old, Payday 2. And that's a lot of setting up bank heists and a weird, but you got to work as a team. You literally got to go in there, make the people get down, don't let them hit the alarm. You're hacking security box. I mean, it's more than just with the masks.
I'm familiar with the box.
Yeah.
That would be cool.
That's something.
That would be on Twitch, though.
That's something. Yeah. I mean, I could do some streams on our page, but I want to focus more on the horror stuff. I want to do a lot more Dead by Daylight gaming and with the killers and.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then Friday will be on Twitch, possibly too, and that'll be more of a casual shooter stream again.
Yeah.
And that'll be like whatever I feel like playing, probably with. That might be with Mazero too. I think on Fridays we might be playing with him. So it's either Fridays or Sundays with him, and it'll be just more like insurgency stuff, depending.
Yeah. But I mean, so you're gonna get part 1 of the GrindHaus podcast on Tuesdays. You're gonna get part 2 early on Wednesday. You're gonna have the horror Hump Day Gaming on Wednesday from Facebook. You're going to have Twitch streams on Thursday. Friday, you're probably going to have or possibly have more game streams.
Yeah.
And we're still going to have our other content between Patreon and YouTube.
But even on Wednesday...
check with us.
But even on Wednesday with Hump Day Horror, I might jump over to Twitch later because our Facebook fans don't usually stay up late and watch the streamings that they do. So if you're a later person, you can still catch it on Twitch possibly too. Depending on we'll see. We'll see how many people are in stream.
But every day, if you check between our YouTube and Facebook and then the Twitch channel, you could be seeing new content just about every day or every other day. Like, that's awesome.
Wednesdays, it's going to start somewhere between 6 and 8 o'clock at night. So it's going to be an early one, too. So people can watch.
People can always go and rewatch it.
Yeah, you can always go rewatch it earlier. Yeah, but I want to try to get on sometime between 6 and 8. I haven't set a time down. I got to figure out what the life and the dog and the people in the house, when it's going to be easiest. But I want to do it earlier than usual. Usually my streams start at like 10 or 11 o'clock at night, so
yeah
it's late.
Well, you're a late night guy.
I am.
Both of us are.
I'm a late night guy. Most people work 9 to 5s that are earlier that are our viewers, so
they have to be in they got to be in
they got to be in bed, and we're
just getting started.
We're just getting going. So
well, other than that, ladies and gentlemen, if you want more content besides what you hear with this podcast, obviously YouTube, Facebook, and the number one is Patreon, because you're guaranteed to get content there with the Serial Killers Academy, early access to our featured people of the week, and more to come once we decide our scheduling. But just check up on Facebook and YouTube. New stuff all the time going up. Other than that, this is Gore's pick of the week. I almost said something else. I am Gray.
I'm Wolfman, and GrindHaus out.